day, everyone. We're welcome once again to the Bloom Lounge, where we talk everything ranging from love, from life, relationships, and all you can think about. We are always excited to come your way every last Thursday of the month, and it's such a privilege to be here again this evening. So, we are talking about the power of intentionality today. And we have an amazing person in the house, which my co host, in person of Ebu Fawole, is going to introduce in a bit. So, just relax, have a good time with us this amazing evening, even as we look at what we call the power of intentionality. Thank you very much. Ebu Fawole, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ayo, for that amazing introduction. And it's good to be here again, guys. How have you been? So, how is life generally? I want to believe we all are holding on. I saw a post today that says that the toiling, the hustling, and everything, they are part of the dream. And it is not the destination, it is the journey. And so I want to encourage every one of us that we should keep journeying. Let's keep traveling on the journey. Let's be intentional, and we will get to the destination in as a wholesome individual if we keep holding on. And that is why we are doing this, to say that, we always talk about intentionality. Let's be intentional about this. Let's be intentional about all we do. And that is why we are here today. Thank you so much, Ayo, for this wonderful platform. And I want to welcome Amina. Amina, hi, how are you?
Hi. So nice to be here.
So thank you so much. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for having you here. And no one would have been able to take this topic apart from you because of some of the things I know about you. And so I'm going to introduce Amina, and from there we'll start with the show. Amina Oluwatosin Yunus Ali. She is a certified performance consultant and a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, which affords her the competence to use therapeutic tools to help clients identify and heal unresolved childhood traumas, grief processing, and many psychological roadblocks hindering a healthy lifestyle. She is a professional. She is a professional of the Family Systems Engineering with the Institute of Family Systems Engineering and Development, and a member of the Family Systems Engineering Professionals. She is a certified mediator from the International Mediation Campus, Germany, with specialty in family mediation. She also uses the Gottman Institute Canada research-based emotional coaching tools to help families recover their relationship. Amina is an intermediate level practitioner of tapping meditation with tapping solutions for meditative and reflective healing techniques. Okay, so Amina's profile is when Yoruba say Mokonsara, so that we don't take much of your time, I'll just move to her coaching firm. The Timeless Soul Incorporation is especially designed to help teenagers and their families appreciate the unique beauty of puberty while navigating the terrain into adulthood, with several therapeutic programs such as teen transition therapy and value integration program. In addition to this, the firm helps other individuals identify their path and express their profound true self in the service of humanity. Amina is a convener of Earth to Parents Conference, a monthly program that hosts other parenting coaches, therapists across the globe to share their experience and expertise with parents and caregivers on the uncomfortable conversations surrounding parenting and how to get through it wholeheartedly. Amina has featured multiple times on the multinational vlog of Family Center Africa to discuss trauma and its effect on children. Amina is the online publisher of timeless nuggets, musings of a wandering heart. You need to read those books. I'm a Christian, but I know I have I've gone through some of Amina's nuggets, and they are deep. Amina is a deep thinker, you know. So tonight, please welcome with me Amina Yunus Ali. Amina, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm so interested in some of the things you do, and we're going to talk about them behind the scene. Thank you so much again, Amina. So, Amina,
Thank you.
looking
Thank
at
you. Thank you
everything
very
that
much for
you're
inviting me.
certified with,
Yeah.
you're welcome. You're welcome. So, looking at everything and all this therapeutic, the tapping, I'm interested in tapping actually. Okay, so I want you to talk about the power intention of intentionality. I mean, now what do we mean when we say it's an English word, right? And we
Yeah,
just
it
use
is.
it. So, we just say, so I intentionally did it. I intentionally, and I think some of us don't really know what that word means, and we just use it. So, Hamina, what is intention and what is intentionality? Let's take it from there so that we pick it from the roots, right?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think in today's age, in today's world, one of the core things that we also need to be particular about is how we use words and the reason we use words. And the how, the reason is actually intention. Is the definition of intention, right? So intention is just understanding. You know, when a child does something and you're like, but why? Why did you do it? So you're thinking in terms of trying to understand what was going on through that child's mind. What was the end effect that the child was hoping to achieve? And same thing with us as adults, as humans, that, a lot of the times when we do something, we're thinking of something. We are hoping for an end effect, right? Or end cause. And that end cause itself is what motivates or inspires us to do certain things. And that truly, really is what intention is about. So intentionality really, in layman's terms, is understanding your mindfulness or your mindlessness about the things and the choices, the decisions that you take. So it's really about understanding the mindfulness with which you approach the decisions that matter to you in life, but perhaps the mindlessness with which you just course through life and just assume that it's going to work out anyway. And, for us in this time where we are so religious and less so spiritual, it can be, turned to, oh, that's the way God wants it,
Mm.
right? So just relax, like, just coursing through. But the beautiful thing about spirituality is actually finding a mindfulness, recognizing that there is a power of responsibility in your power of choice. So that is where your empowerment lies. That is where your true essence lies. And so let me just not say more than that before I tell you crucify you for being so deep. But
Thank you
over
so
to
we
much.
we
you.
we actually we actually need the depth, because that is where that's how we will understand and put value to the things we are doing. When you were talking about intention, you said the how and the usage of the word is actually intention,
Yes.
right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
saying that the thought behind it is the intention. That's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why you do what you want to do. So it
Mm-hmm.
means that, so when you got to that point of the mindfulness and mindlessness, we can be so irresponsible, like you said, putting everything to God, that, oh, by God's grace, He would do it without making any move. without doing anything about it. And we just, I think we said something about that today, saying that we just say, oh, it's the
Yeah.
will of, and if it didn't happen eventually, we'll be like, it's not the will of God for us to just
Mm.
do it, not knowing that we're supposed to actually make moves. We're supposed to do something.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually
you
wanted
want
to
to say
say
something?
something.
Okay.
Yes, to that. I was in a meeting yesterday, and um, we're given the acronyms to success. And the amazing thing is, success is a 7-letter word. The first letter is S, which says seek God. And we have all we have the U, we have the CC, we have the E, we have the um,
Yes.
SS. I can't really state out all the words that we have, all the what the what's it called?
What they represent, what those
The
letters
text.
represent.
Yeah, the letters really represent now. But the amazing thing about the 6 other letters is the fact that they are the things we need to do.
Mm.
They are the things we need to do. So you can imagine, seek God is the first one. Then we have 6 other things. I think it talks about we being I've forgotten. I'll try and see if I can recollect before we end, the session today. But the bottom line is the 6 other letters are referring to the things we need to do. And it's important that we always recognize that and know that we are responsible for our lives. Things just don't happen. We have to work things out. We have a part to play in the scheme of things. God has done all he has to do. It's now for us, to arise. I know, take hold of those things that are expected of us and work it out. Just to say, something to the back of what Amina has said. And I would just like to ask, when we're talking about intentionality, how can we relate it with you walking in purpose? Can we
Mhm.
tie it together? Intentionality, walking in purpose, having a vision, going after your goals. Can we tie these things together?
Yeah, so absolutely. I started working with children, teenagers, particularly in 2003. And so that's like almost 20 years, right? But so in this time that I've worked with teenagers, one of the things that I've seen in families is that when a troubled teenager comes to you, you really just want to change, right? You want to change that child. But the fact is, the environment, the people, this time they are the environment. They are the ones that have the most influence, not the therapist, not the coach, the people who brought this child into this world, who really say, I'm ready to get married, I'm ready to be with a child and to start a family, right? They are the ones. But unfortunately, we are now in this era of so much unresolved issues. So intentionality with purpose begin with, am I whole as a human being before I can be with another human being? Am I wholesome with it as myself? Like, can I recognize? I'm not hoping that this other person, this man or this woman, is going to fill a void in me that I missed as a child. Is going to cuddle me the way I would have wanted my father to cuddle me, or would have said thank you the way I wanted my mom to say thank you, and things like that. So, am I whole? Am I ready to approach this relationship in the wholeness of my being? Am I going into it broken and expectant and um, just wishing and hoping, but not really being intentional about what my expectations are or who this other person is? So when we talk about intentionality about with couplehood, it is understanding first and foremost that, so there's this thing for me as a Muslim, one of the favorite famous quotes that we use to ground ourselves as Muslims is this hadith that says everything, all actions shall be judged according to intention. And researching that topic and researching that with this topic in mind is recognizing that for you as a human being, getting married goes beyond it's the next stage in my life. Like I've gone to school, I have a work, I have a car, and of course, if you're in Lagos or you don't have a car, you're not ready to get married. Shame. So, I have a car, I have my business, and then the next thing is I have to get married and then I have children. It's really about why exactly am I existing in this world? I tell people that there are over 7 billion people in this world. And that means there are 7 billion solutions. So no matter how much problem we have in this world, there are 7 billion solutions. And we keep procreating those solutions into this world. But because we have no direction, we have no vision of what this solution is going to be, we're so overly reliant over, it's just like you've God has already given you the power, and then you're still asking for more power. And he's like looking at you like, well, you've got this power already. So what exactly are you waiting on me for? But we don't see it. So the intentionality in itself, in terms of approaching purpose, would start with being whole, recognizing myself, and then being clear about where I'm going to go with this new family that I'm approaching, that I'm beginning, and how that looks compared to planting a seed. You
Mm.
don't plant a seed on the surface of the soil, and it's not most seeds anyway, right? You prime the soil. So you have to prime yourself to ready. That's soil. You have to prime yourself to be ready to receive the next stage of your life. And then in priming the soil, then you plant the seed. And then you do all the necessary things, cultivate with fertilizers, with checking the weather, ensuring that everything is right. But when it comes to you're so careful with the other things of our life except the future of our lives. And that's so sad. And this is
Thank you
where
so much.
intentionality comes in. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amina. Before you go on, before Ebu takes her next question or observation, I was actually asking about intentionality um, in regards to purpose. But I'm glad you
Oh,
talked about
purpose.
purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You
Okay, I
talked
missed
about
that.
couple, but it's okay. But I just want to find out if you can still talk to that, you
Oh,
know.
yes, absolutely. In
Um,
fact, I was,
Please.
purpose. Yes. Intentionality about purpose. So it's basically really understanding yourself. So really, I talked a little bit about that. Recognizing yourself first and foremost. Um, number one, knowing that there's no matter how you came into this world, you were a choice. You were a fact, not a choice. Like it wasn't a mistake, it wasn't accidental. No matter how, I don't want to know what the back end story between your parents were, but you were carefully selected out of billions of cells to be right here in this moment. A lot of things could have happened. A miscarriage could have taken before even before you were even born. A lot of several and intangible accidents could have happened to not have made you become what you became. So you're here. That's the first purpose of your life, recognizing that there's a reason for you existed. The second thing, intentionality about your purpose, recognizing your own purpose for being is paying attention to the signs when you're a little girl, there are people that told you, man, you talk too much. You smell too much. There's a reason for that. Those are signs. You grew up into becoming a teenager, you became very careful and reticent, and but you're a good writer. You are a good you are good in sciences, you're good in accounting, you're a whiz at mathematics. There's a science telling you that there's a purpose for this. These were not just a mistake. There's a reason for those talents, for those signs to be existing. And then you got into the uni or you didn't go to the uni, but you know that you're talented one way or the other. You can feel it. It's like you wake up and you know there's something bursting in your mind that you want to. pay attention to those signs. And that's actually how it begins to recognize, how you actually begin to recognize um, your purpose. Now, tying that to, what I had said earlier about being a solution to this world, that's I think for me, that's the closing part of becoming. The moment you realize that whatever it is that you've been blessed with is so much bigger than you that you need to express. You always stand thinking, who is watching me? I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. My voice is not loud enough, or my voice is not sweet enough. You're just going to do it as crazily, messily as you can, and just show up because you know that there's a solution bursting within you that you want to show up for, and that's where you begin.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you so much, Amina. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you
Yes,
so
we can
much.
hear.
You came in different perspective, talking about relationship, how that people need to be intentional. So I'm going to generalize what you just said, saying that whatever it is that you want to do, you are expecting an outcome. And so you need to be intentional about the moves you make, right? You need to be
Yes,
Yes.
intentional
absolutely.
about the moves you're making so that you will achieve or attain that outcome that you desire, right? Okay, so I want to talk about this. So a lot of times when I counsel with young people, people that are disturbed, people that are traumatized and all, there's this part, this word, this intentional, by the time you ask questions and you discover that this person is not even aware at all.
Mm,
you get you just discover this person is not aware at all. This person is not self-aware at all. You tend to want to say, okay, so whatever it is that I'm telling you to do, whatever, so we're saying, so you should change your routine so that you can have fruitful day. What are the routines, what are the things you wake up to do? And so we tell them to be intentional about these things, right? So
yes,
intentionality, there's this thing about the power of the mind and the mental state, isn't it, to be about. So it's like intentionality there's a mental state to it. And I know that,
yes.
Amina, you are a psychologist, even though you are not trained as a psychologist, so you are certified. I want
It's
you to
like a therapist. Yeah.
mental, explain that mental state attached to it. Why do we tell people to be intentional? Because that will also help in answering this purpose question that Ayo is talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
Saying, yeah, saying that what's that mental state to be? Why do we have to stand there?
So as a science student, well, I'm a science. I was originally a science student, and we are told that nothing, a body will continue in its state until it is acted upon by another body, right? So that's the fundamental of our essence, and we ourselves, we are energy. So we are constantly acting upon things, and things are constantly acting upon us. I use that as an analogy because, take for instance, the moment you wake up from the bed, that moment you wake up and you are out alert, everything that you begin to think about would eventually affect the rest of your day. The person you see, the news you absorb, the you know the very first thought that you have can impact your day. So imagine if you wake up every single day thinking, oh God, I don't have enough sleep. The action word in that sentence is enough, like I didn't have enough. So you go about your day not having enough, in a mental deprivation, in a state of mental deprivation, like nothing is enough, the sleep is not enough. You look about your people and you're like, they're not smart enough. You guys are not, cannot be, can't you hurry, meet up to time and everything. So everything from that moment has been acted upon by your own state because you are matter, you are a mass. Say also it's the way intentionality works in our mindset works in terms of recognizing how mindful we are, how intentional we are about things. You know, earlier when you started this, you said we are all journeying towards something. But you see, it's not so much as the destination as the journey itself. So it is how we affect the journey, how we decide for ourselves that, you know what, I want, apart from the vision that I'm seeing for myself, I want to wake up grateful, thankful that I even had to sleep. I even had a bed to sleep on at all. Is a moment to begin your process of having an intention of changing your thought process. Because everything about what we do begins with the thoughts and then translates into our belief system and eventually would affect the results that we get. So if you begin to change what you're thinking about, you eventually affect what you believe that is out there. And eventually your results will begin to transform. There is no magic to it, it's just simple mathematics. Like when you start with yourself and you start with the very first thing, there was a time I used to wake up really, really cranky. Like I would say that I'm an insomniac. So I had like maximum of 2 to 3 hours of sleep every day. But even with those 2 to 3 hours, I recognized that it wasn't so much about the amount of sleep I was having, but how I was waking up. And that was the first thing I changed when I became intentional. And I said, so I had an alarm on my phone. I said, okay, you can change that a little. So my phone was often always far from me, right until I changed not having the using the phone to wake up. And once it rang, you know how you wake up and then you want to quickly look who has messaged you overnight. It's like the entire world is waiting for you to wake up. Like, and then I said, there was no way I was going to open WhatsApp each time I wake up. So until I've said my prayers and I've done the basics, done my reflection, my meditation, I wasn't going to check my messages. So if I'm messaging you at 4 a.m., it most likely meant that I had been awake for more than 2 hours at that point in time. And that changed my outlook because a lot of times I will hear news that has happened maybe a day or two or 12 hours earlier, and I'm like, oh, but I've had enough restful mindset to process and to look for positivity even in the chaos that seems to be hostile our lives right now. So that is what it means to be intentional about even your everydayness. Recognizing that if you truly want to change the results that you are getting right now, if something is not working for you, look at the barest minimum change that you can have. Right? There's the power. There's a purpose. There's this the key to success. In between an event and the eventual action, that moment of choice, that's where the power of intentionality lies. That's where you can begin to make changes that will eventually affect whatever result that you're hoping for. And that is the way we actually align ourselves to true purpose, if I can put it that way.
Thank you, Amina. So, in other words, intentionality is being deliberate, being
Absolutely. Absolutely.
purposive,
Yeah.
being deliberate, being purposive with what we are doing. What do
Mm,
you want? How do you want to get there? Do you want
mm.
to leave it to time and chance? And that is where the mindfulness and mindlessness that you mentioned the other time, right? I mean, saying that
Yes.
you have to
And it's not to
mind.
say, sorry that I have to cut. It's not to say that,
No problem.
things will happen that we didn't plan for, right? We would have
Absolutely.
unexpected challenges. Um, but truly and really, a lot of the things that we're experiencing in life started with, they started with a burden effects. They started with a burden cost. There were seeds planted here and there that we didn't plant ourselves. We just threw the seed. And it's just like when when you've washed your tomatoes and pepper and everything, the water of the seed, you just throw it out. And then one day you wake up and you're finding tomato on your lawn and you're like, oh, but I didn't plant tomato there. How did that happen? That's just what
Happen.
it's been. Yeah, so that's just what we've been experiencing. But the truth of the matter is, if we truly want to change that, if you really want to have a tomato garden, you know you can have a tomato garden. You know that you have enough tomato seeds to plant. So be intentional about it, be mindful about it. So that's just what I believe. That even when things happen that we didn't plan, we can actually be in charge of our responses and be
Yeah.
responsive instead of
Yeah.
being reactionary.
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. I love what you just said, saying that even if you decide to be deliberate, you decide to be intentional, and things did not go the way you want it, because inside you have an intention, the way you will handle it will be different. You won't be
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
ruffled. You won't be ruffled.
Yes.
You will be in a place where you will be able to handle it well. And that's the difference between somebody who have a plan and somebody who doesn't have a plan. You're
Right.
intentional about something. In fact, when something happens to alter what you're talking about, you're able to even still look at it and visualize it, and it might eventually even end and give you the same outcome that you desire, because that is
Yeah.
Mm.
how I believe in God, and that is how God works. And
Yeah.
the good book that I believe in says all things, so he will make all things work together for your good.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that is how it is. Yeah. So Aya, you wanted to say something.
Yes. Amina said a few things that I noted while she was speaking. So she mentioned the fact that we need to be intentional with our thoughts. Very important. We need
Mm.
to be intentional with our thoughts. What are the things we are thinking about? What are the things, that we are allowing ourselves to dwell on, as we go through life? She also mentioned the fact that we know that our thoughts, give birth to our beliefs. And by the time you know it, whatever you believe in, you begin to say it out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You begin to say it out. And as you say it out, you begin to live it. You begin to see the words that you're saying out, finding expression in your life
Mm-hmm.
and even in one's relationship. So it's very, very important for us, to be intentional with everything that we do, starting from our thoughts. Because out of the thoughts in our hearts are the issues of life. Nothing just happens. When you're having conversations with someone, they say, oh, and I didn't mean it, so it just came out of my mouth. No, at some
Mm.
point you thought about it. You didn't bridle it very well. And it found its expression in the words of your mouth. You weren't intentional enough about the thoughts, in your heart. And
Mm.
it found its way out. So just, trying to put everything together that you've said, Amina, that our thoughts, our beliefs, our words, and our actions are very, very important when we are talking about being intentional, when we're talking about the power of intentionality. Even when someone is saying something around you and you know it doesn't resonate with you, immediately you refute it. You are intentional about the things that happen around you. You are intentional about the quality of people that you roll with.
Yes. And the
Yes,
meanings that
and I'll just
you take
want
out
you to
of
speak to that.
arguments.
Sorry?
Yeah. And I said, and the meanings that you take out of everything that happened in life. One of the daunting questions I've had to answer from teenagers that I work with is, so why do bad things happen to good people? I mean, and this I also heard recently with the Texas shooting and
Cheating,
everything.
so sad.
You know, it's so sad, and it's really it befedros a lot of our young ones now. That I mean, we talk about this one, we being the future leaders, the how can we that the future leaders are the one even doing this app and everything. Like one of the ways I answer this is to ask like, what would you like to do differently? How do you
Mm,
think you could change the narration? What meaning are you giving to this? Because it is in the meaning we give to happenings around us that we actually begin to form our belief system. That we begin to act out or take a certain persona. You know, we do personality tests and we say, oh, this person is this, person is that. But really, it's also the experiences that these people have accepted and taken meanings from that would form their persona eventually. So truly and really, I'm like, okay, so what meaning are you taking of this? Are you taking the meaning of there's a lot of work to do and the world needs me to become a savior? You know, like we were
mm,
saying in one of our mentoring classes, there is so much pain out there I do not want to be in this world. Because really and truly, this young 18-year-old who picked up a gun must have been sown certain seeds as well. You know, those tomato seeds. So imagine if it was crocodile leaf seeds that you just kept throwing at the not caring what was going and where you're throwing it to. And you're throwing mango to your neighbor's side, and then the mango tree began to shoot. Who wants the mango tree? So there's just so much that we do, not knowing where it is coming from because we weren't paying attention. But even in those moments, those things are happening, or we begin to see the effects of those things. It's also to recognize that the meanings we take out of what is happening around us is very important. So
mm,
I'm reminding the young ones and their parents who may be listening to this or watching this and saying that this is the moment more than ever that we need to be more intentional in how we speak to our
mm,
future and what we hope for our future. You know, how
mm,
we intentionally groom our children to take the mantle of true leadership. Not leadership, but just because you want them to say, you want to say, oh, that's my son there, running the Mayaga race or running the senatorial race, and I'm a proud mama, I'm a proud papa, and things like that. But truly, a transformative leadership um,
mm,
essence, helping them to recognize that, you know what, as much as there's pain in this world, there are many more reasons to provide healing, to be one of the people that bring healing, that bring peace to this world. And this is where you are needed. So you could either add to the problem or you could actually begin to be one of the very important solutions that we need in this world. And this is one of the ways that we can actually begin to be intentional about our, our expressions too. Like making sure that no matter what happens to us or no matter what we hear in the news, we sit with the emotion of what we are feeling. I'm not going to ask you, I'm an emotion coach. So one of the things I say to my people is sit with the emotion. What are you feeling right now? If you're feeling angry, angry is good. Angry means there's an action in you that needs to be let out, and a positive action to change something. So what is that then?
mm,
So we go through the
mm,
process of selecting what we could do differently. Do I need to go to school to ensure that my child's school is safe and with several cases of accidental deaths in primary schools and stuff like that in Lagos State in itself. What do I need to do? How can I galvanize action among the PTA? How can I begin to speak to the school board members? What can I do beyond just expecting the whole world to do for you? So that's when your intentionality also begins to play,
mm,
recognizing that the emotions you're feeling are valid and they
mm,
can be useful in how you
mm.
begin to play your part in the
Absolutely.
in what we face in this world.
Thank you so much, Amina. But before you ask your question, I just want to
Yes.
say something to what I was able to pick from what Amina just said. She mentioned the fact that we need to pay attention. We need to pay attention, and also we need to pay attention to ourselves first, and then to the people around us, to our children, our spouses, our friends, our colleagues. We need to pay attention. And everything still ties up to what you've mentioned at the beginning, mindfulness. Because if you're not
Mm,
mindful, there's no how you can pay attention. You know, I used to be someone who multitasks, but I found out that it's there is no award for multitasking. I found out that now that I've learned to focus, I'm someone that loves to do so many things. I even, crowned myself MTO, the multi-talented one, and so many things. But I've learned in the past few, years, few months, that please, can we focus? Can we focus? Pay attention to this so that you can get the best out of it. Then another thing you said, which reminded me of a conversation I had with Ebo in the afternoon, is the fact that there's always solution here. There is always solution. There is always solution. Please permit me, the audience, those who don't understand my mother tongue, it says, "Ogoki tolaye kawa losong." We cannot
Yes.
say that there is no solution, there is no wisdom here on earth, that it is now time to go to heaven to bring it,
Bring it.
to bring it to earth. And I found out that as one takes time to think, as one takes time to be intentional about that situation at hand, solution comes. So that thing we're discussing, Ebo, in the afternoon, I found the solution and I'll gist you what I came to at the end
Oh,
of the day. We are
yeah.
intentional about the things that we are going through. We find out that there's a solution.
Yeah.
When we pay attention, we find out there is a way out. There is a way out. And this adage that I just, said, I heard it from my mom while I was still small. And
My
that
mom
thing
too.
always guides me. I keep reminding, that's how you've not thought deep enough. If you think deep enough, you will find the answer. Think deep enough. Think deep enough. You have all that you need to get the solution. God has made it available for you. Are you being lazy mentally? Are you finding it difficult, to sit on it and crack it? And I find out that when I'm intentional about my thoughts, I get solution to whatever it is. So yes, just to, add a bit of energy
Yes.
to what you have said.
And energy indeed. Energy indeed. So Amina, when you were talking, you had summarized everything and everything. So we're pointing at parenting, we are pointing at the people around us and all. But you said something very profound, and that is wholeness.
Yes.
Finding wholeness in yourself.
Mm,
So I just wanted to talk about that. I know that if you're not intentional, you might not be able to find wholeness and you can't give what you don't have. So that's where all the wrong, all the error that
Yeah.
souls rot starts from. So I just wanted to
So,
talk about that. Yeah.
so this is an existential question in terms of the chicken and the egg, which came first.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really
Mm-hmm.
want to be intentional, you have to be ready to be whole, you need to be whole, you have to be ready to be intentional. So really, it's recognizing. Let me put it this way: a lot of the stories that have been told as while we're growing up, you have to begin to dissolve them away from yourself for you to get the truth. And I say this very carefully because really and truly, in all ramifications, there are certain things, certain adages that we also heard away from um, uh, what Messiah just said in terms of like our song. There are other things that we heard that you would wonder that why is this? What does this mean? Why is this being said? Now I say this very carefully because certain things you were told, like, you know, the only way for you, the way to a man's heart is through the stomach. Like, I think how many times that, I heard that when I was growing up. Or that the only way to be happy is to be married. and translating this from things that I've heard while I was growing up. There's so many things. But the true wholeness, right, begins from recognizing that first and foremost, even twins, as much as identical as they may be, their fingerprints that is unique to them. No matter how much how identical they are, the fingerprints will still remain. So the one who has created you uniquely, purposefully, carefully, selectively. You have to first sit with that and own that, believe that, revel in that, and just be okay with that you are unique. And the decisions that you will make, the experiences that you will have, the meanings you will take from these experiences are unique to you. So when people are making judgment and labeling you based on their own experiences, you have to move away from those labels to intentionally just sit with yourself. And the one who created you and say, you know what, this is me, and I'm unique, and I need answers. And often enough, the questions that we are most afraid to ask are the ones that bear the answers that we most need. So in our busyness, we are busy getting out of primary school, getting into secondary school, getting into university, finally finishing and then landing that beautiful job and then just working like crazy to meet one. So it's an endless rat race. Oops, sorry. It's an endless rat race that we've been conditioned to believe will bring happiness, right? Then you first have to move away from that and begin to ask yourself, why am I here? And what do I need to do to own myself? I'm not saying that this is an easy question. I'm not saying that this is going to be an easy journey for most because of course it's like I'm just going to put food on the table and begin to ask that kind of question. Eh? How am I going to pay the next month's bill if I begin to ask that kind of question? But if you don't ask the question, how do you find the answers that are nagging at the back end, waiting to pop up? And this is why so many people, you say, and this is what I said, the chicken and egg which came first. So many people would rather just go on autopilot rather than be intentional.
That's the word, autopilot. We
Right?
all are living in
Because we are
autopilot.
afraid to discover who we truly are. Because if who we truly are is so different from what we've been conditioned to believe, where do we begin from? How do we begin to manage it? How do we begin to manage the expectations? And oh my goodness, there's just so much relying on us. But the truth is, we attract what we are ready for. And the teacher is waiting once the student is ready. So it is in that you begin to recognize how powerful your mindfulness can be if you can sit still and ask the right questions.
Questions. Wow. Amazing. 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 Wow. I was able to write a few things down, Amina.
Yes.
Um, you said we are unique. And
Mm.
as such, we must be intentional with our lives. We are unique. There is no two of us. So, because I'm unique, that means there's something in particular I'm here to do. There is a purpose for which I have been created, and Ebo can't carry that out. And the world is waiting for me to rise up and fulfill that purpose. So if I'm intentional, I'll find out that I'm able to. But if I am not intentional, I find out that at the end of the day, I just came and, just left without putting my mark on the sand of time. So we must always remember that we are unique and we must be intentional with the way we live our lives. And you were talking
Absolutely.
about how we start our day. I had to adopt a particular way of waking up. So, yes, I have my alarm on, which is usually far from where I sleep. So, as it comes on, I just tell myself, the queen is awake. The queen is
Mm.
awake, ready to be a blessing to my world, ready to impact my generation and generation after me. Again, today is such a privilege to be awake. It's such a
Mm.
privilege to be, hale and hearty. And I begin to mention the parts of my body as I'm walking towards my alarm to put it off. So my husband is already used to it. When he hears noise in the morning, he knows it is me. know,
Oh my
as I'm walking
goodness.
towards my home, and I'm just saying, I'm grateful for my hair, I'm grateful for my nose, I'm grateful for my tummy, I'm grateful for my hand, I'm grateful for my kidneys. I just, mention all the parts of my body that I can remember because I'm being intentional about the way I start my day. Because I know if I'm not, if care is not taken, a lot of things will just overtake, oneself. And before you know it, you're becoming cranky,
And
you're
then
angry, you're
about
this, you're
everything.
that,
Yeah.
and the day just spirals down into what you don't really, really love. So intentionality is very, very key. Ebo, I think the last question or thoughts before we allow Amina to give us, to close this evening.
All right. So thank you so much, Amina, for joining us. It's a deep one and a very wide topic. So when you were
Yeah.
talking the other time, you said something about being in autopilot,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
I think that's one big problem, because a lot of us don't even know we are in autopilot. You're just living your life. You're just taking it. You're just going as it is. Just taking it as it comes. And I was discussing with somebody last week, and I said something about the fact that the post-COVID we were all expecting. The truth of the matter is, our expectation is not what we are experiencing. The experience is so different, but we are so used to something that we are prepared in our mind. Some have refused to change, some are still living the
Yeah.
way. Some
Because you couldn't
are,
wait.
yeah, some have programmed their mind to say that post COVID, this is how it's going to be. And so they are continuing, and it seems as if they are stretching, they are stressing, they are going
Mm.
through overwhelm, and they are not sensitive about it. Because it is not the post COVID that we envisioned that is happening. And so
Yeah.
we all are in autopilot. I was telling that person that, see, we all need to pause so
Yeah, but
that
that
we
was what
can.
COVID came to do.
What did you
COVID
say?
came to, COVID came to stop us in our tracks to pay attention, to ask us
So
questions that we were afraid to ask. That is what
yeah.
COVID came to do.
So the question, like Ayo said, we maybe some of us didn't ask the deep question, because I don't know if you're seeing what I'm saying, that the post-COVID we prepared for is not what we are experiencing. Things are far away from what we expected post-COVID to be like. Fine, we know that we all will go online, we all will do this, but are we prepared for the energy we will have to put into even working online? Were we prepared for? So there are some things we need to do. There's some things that initially, you can just send. For those of us that the social media, we are socialpreneur, right? The
Mm.
social media, all you need to do at some point is just to put your thoughts, just type it out, put a beautiful picture, and post
Yeah.
it. And you notice that plenty people viewed it. But do you know that if you are not ready to dance buga and do some moves these days, people will not even check, because people are rushing towards that thing that will make them laugh
What
for that
seems
second.
interesting?
People don't want to read long posts.
Mm.
Do you understand? And it is because a lot of people are overwhelmed. They want
Absolutely.
it,
Just short and
they
sharp.
want it
Go to the straight
short
to the
and
point.
you get. So I'm
I've
just
noticed
saying
that
all
as
this
well.
to say that I'm saying all this to say that, just like Amina said, you need to recognize yourself, know who you are. There's a lot of rush. Do you want to follow the rushing? Is that how it works for you? We can't afford to be on autopilot. I have come to understand myself that I don't have to post every day. It's not what I want to do. Maybe once, maybe every other day, maybe not very early in the morning, maybe in the evening. But the society, everything that is happening is telling you wake up very early and just put something. Excuse me, is that what works for you? Do you want to be in autopilot? And this is what we are talking about, that we should be intentional. We all need to pause and find
Yeah.
out, how does this work for me? And that
Yeah.
is where the intentionality comes in, to say that, okay, so this is not what I want to do. I have to be intentional with what and holding on to the fact that whatever it is I do, it will work for me. This is the result. This is the result I want to achieve. And so I'm intentional about what I'm doing. My mind is so fixed on it. I belong to a particular group where every morning we're made to talk about our intentions per day. So, what's your intention for today? I want to be happy. I want to be at peace. I want to I want to be kind. I want to be tolerant, all these things we have to be intentional, or else people would define how you want to live your day. And if care is not taken, they dictate it, and you just unconsciously just go and follow the dictates, or what's that word now. So thank you very much, Amina. While we're trying to round up, can you please just give us your last word? What do you think you want our audience to understand about intentionality, and how can they choose to be whole, saying that you can't give what you don't have, right?
Um,
We have
so,
children we are raising, we have people around us, right? Yeah,
so
thank you.
what comes to mind is this: when we're talking about uniqueness, every single day seems to the sun seems to rise, and at night there's the stars all we find the morning, and it's a cycle, right? So it seems like yesterday was the same thing as the day before, and then today is like yesterday and things like that. But the truth of it is, what makes it different is how the sun chooses to show up. So sometimes you wake up, you look at the horizon, and there's this purplish looking golden sky. And there are times you wake up and it's just bright orange. And the times you wake up, the sun is hiding beneath the clouds. The sun, the way God has created the sun is to show up in different ways, at different times, with different weathers, in unique spaces. And it's the same thing with you. So you can be the same as you were. You can choose to be the same as you were yesterday or the day before it, or you can choose to show up tomorrow with a little bit of change, a little bit of light, a little bit of positivity, a little bit of color, just a little bit that actually would mean that you are going into the world that is tomorrow with something you're intentional about, something you're hoping for, something that you are seeing as part of your future. So that's just it. Like bring a little bit of something different that is positive into your spark for tomorrow. And that's where intentionality begins.
Thank you so much, Amina. Thank you so much. Aya, you are muted. Aya, you are muted.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Amina. We're so glad to have hosted you tonight. You've
I am so glad
shared,
to.
you've shared from your wealth of knowledge, and it's such, a pleasure speaking with you, hearing you, and
Thank you.
learning from you. And we'll be wrapping up with this, and I'd just like to let our audience know that we've got to be intentional about every area of our lives, starting from our thoughts,
Mm,
which gives birth to our beliefs, which shows up in our words, which shows up in our actions and definitely shows up in our relationships with our children, with our spouses, with our friends, with our colleagues. It all
Ourselves.
shows up. Yes, everything, even the way we live life, um, the way we do things. And like Ebo said, which Becky Olatunji was able to pinpoint, that we need to be able to live at our own pace. You know, don't run after other people. Know what works for you and stick to it. If you do that, you find out that one is successful at the end of the day. You're not drained, you're not stressed out. Yes, it's good to stretch yourself. Don't be laid back, you know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, don't do what you know doesn't work for you. And the truth is, we'll know. If something is not working
Mm,
for us, we know. We know. We just choose not to listen to ourselves, you
more
know. So
attention.
thank you
Yes.
so much, Amina. We're so glad to have you.
I'm honored. I'm honored.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much. So, our
Thank
audience,
you.
thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. We so much appreciate
Thank you
you.
all.
And we'll meet again next month where we have the evening of gists. And that promises to be hot. I won't tell you who is coming. It promises to be hot. You can begin to think, what is that hotness about? It
And I
promises
want to
to
say
be hot.
thank you, ladies, for always having these amazing conversations. We need to have more of these conversations. I mean,
Indeed,
Yeah.
we do need to. We
yeah.
need to. We
So
need to.
thank you for always, showing up for us in our world. God bless
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much, Amina.
good evening, everyone. God bless.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye.
Bye.